Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'll be presenting a professional development workshop on collaborative constructivist instruction in the IB Primary Years program. This presentation draws on what I've learned throughout the EDUC5270 course, especially from applying the Gagnon and Collet constructivist learning design template to my own lesson planning. Before we dive in, I want to give you a quick sense of what we'll be working toward in this session. My goal for you is to walk away with a clear understanding of how constructivist teaching supports inquiry, especially in the context of the IB PYP. We'll look at different instructional strategies, talk about how to make group work more meaningful, particularly for diverse learners, and explore practical ways to embed collaboration into your units. Whether you're new to constructivist learning or looking to deepen your practice, this workshop will give you some tools and ideas you can take straight into the classroom. Let's begin by looking at the lesson that anchors today's workshop. This is a PYP unit on migration, where students explore stories of people who've moved around the world. It comes from our unit Where We Are in Place and Time, and the focus was on why people move and what emotional or physical effect that has. I really wanted students to connect personally to the idea of movement, not just from a historical or geographical angle, but emotionally. That's why I grounded the lesson in real stories, both fictional and primary source. You'll notice the CLD framework running through the lesson plan. Students make personal connections, work in collaborative groups, and present their understanding using multimodal tools like drawings or voice recordings. You'll see that group work was central. Each student in a group had a defined role: reader, summarizer, connector, and this was a great way to keep everyone engaged and make sure diverse learners could participate meaningfully. One thing I was intentional about was offering multiple ways for students to express their learning: writing, drawing, or voice recordings. For assessment, I used a rubric that focused on empathy, understanding of migration, and how well students could express those ideas. The reflections, especially the voice notes, were so insightful. And what I loved most was how this lesson it invited such honest and deep thinking. One student actually said, "I never thought about how scary it might be to leave everything behind." That's exactly the kind of connection I was hoping for, and what I'm hoping to show more of to you as you attend this professional development. So, why constructivism? Well, I chose a constructivist approach for this lesson because it aligns perfectly with the IB's emphasis on agency, inquiry, and reflection. When students connect personally to the concept of migration, imagining themselves in someone else's shoes, they engage emotionally and cognitively. Constructivism supports that by prioritizing exploration, social interaction, and real-world connections. Research by Gagnon and Collet, as well as Wright and Domke, backs this up. Students learn more deeply when they build understanding collaboratively and through experience. Let's compare this lesson's inquiry-based strategy with a direct instruction model. In direct instruction, the teacher controls the flow of knowledge. It's efficient, especially for skills-based learning, but it can limit student voice and deeper thinking. In contrast, constructivist strategies allow students to lead with their questions and experiences, which is essential for topics like migration that benefit from empathy and perspective taking. Another comparison is with behaviorist strategies like rewards or repetition-based drills. These can be helpful for routines, but they don't support the open-ended exploration we need for inquiry. In my lesson, for example, there's no single right answer. Students express understanding in different ways. That flexibility encourages deeper engagement and honors diverse learning styles, which is a big advantage in IB classrooms. When we use constructivist approaches, students don't just memorize, they internalize. First, they learn how to learn. which builds confidence. Second, they develop critical thinking by analyzing and synthesizing information. Third, they practice collaboration, which prepares them for the real world. And finally, they feel a sense of ownership, which leads to greater motivation. These benefits are especially powerful in IB settings, where inquiry and reflection are at the core of the curriculum. Collaborative learning only works when it's structured well. In this lesson, students were given clear roles: reader, summarizer, and connector. That ensures everyone participates. I also scaffold the process with visual agreements like one mic at a time and tools like graphic organizers to guide discussions. These supports help all students, including those with language or processing needs. Another key technique is offering multiple modes of expression. Some students might write, others might draw or record their thoughts. This kind of flexibility boosts equity. I also check in with groups, not just to see if they're on task, but to observe how they're interacting, who's contributing, who's listening, and how are they negotiating meaning together. That's where real learning happens. Before we wrap up, I just want to highlight a few key takeaways. First, constructivist learning is not just a theory, it's a mindset. It asks us to see students as active participants in their own learning journeys, not passive receivers of content. Second, when we intentionally design group work, we create space for every learner to contribute, especially in diverse classrooms. It's not just about having students work together, but making sure the collaboration is meaningful and inclusive. Finally, integrating inquiry and collaboration into our teaching doesn't mean starting from scratch. It's about adapting what we already do and reframing it to support agency, reflection, and deeper thinking. So for the next step, I'd like you to choose one unit and one lesson you currently teach or are about to teach, and rewrite it using the CLD, Constructivist Learning Design Framework. I want you to pay particular attention to where you can introduce more student choice and where you can build in stronger collaborative structures. We'll use our next session to workshop these redesigned lessons together.